It's the Line Makers on Sporting News.
Let's gear up for one of the big college football games this Saturday. Brian Blessing, along with the Line Makers, Rick Herron, coming to you from the South Point here in Las Vegas. It's Notre Dame at Michigan State. Spartans open 4, Rick. We're seeing a lot of money on the home team here. It's up to 6, and the total's telling you something here. Only 43, with good reason. This is a Michigan State defense. Hasn't allowed an offensive touchdown in 2 games.
No, 2 interception returns from quarterback Andrew Maxwell. It's the only 10 touchdowns they've given up. And Brian, you know, in this game, we're looking at a team in Notre Dame that came back from Dublin in the 50-10 win against Navy in Dublin. Struggled last week, needed a last-second field goal to win 20-17 against Purdue. Everett Golston was great in the game, threw for 289, ran for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown. He got shaken up. Tommy Rees came off the bench, who was suspended for the Navy game in Dublin. Took him down the field for the game-winning field goal by the backup kicker.
Well, let me ask you about that, because Reese gets suspended the first game. Golson serviceable. Obviously, Kelly, you know, he's trying to, you know, lay the law of the land, a little discipline. But when you have 2, you have none. That's the old mantra. Does Golson start looking over his shoulder now at Reese?
I don't know that he looks over his shoulder, Brian. And, you know, what a more important part to me was Notre Dame jet lagged from the trip to Ireland and have to come back home and play against a Purdue team that I think is better than a lot of people think they are.
Plus, they had to face Caleb Turbish,
right?
Who had basically they hadn't any film on this year because he hadn't played in the first game either.
And Michigan State comes off the opening week win over Boise, 17-13. It could have been a letdown spot last week against Central Michigan. They go in and win 41-7. They've been super impressive. Le'Veon Bell is just a horse in the backfield at 6'2", 245, 250. Against Boise State, he had 50. Count them, 50 touches, 44 carries and 6 catches. He only had 18 carries last week because they were up so big. He's going to be rested for the game, and I don't know how Notre Dame's going to stop him, to be perfectly honest with you.
Michigan State's the closest thing to a pro team in college football you'll see. I'm not saying they're the best team by any stretch of the imagination, but they're very comfortable in their own skin with that run and stop the run mentality.
I think they're a very good college football team. I think they're very, very physical on both sides of the ball. We talked about their defense hasn't allowed a touchdown, and it's very tough to shut down their running game. To me, the key to the game comes down to Andrew Maxwell. He can throw. He threw for 275 last week. Question is, can he protect the ball? Now, I agree with the move on Michigan State. I think they're bigger and more physical and stronger than Notre Dame is. But getting up in the 6 range is getting a little bit scary.
Well, let me ask you, Notre Dame's a public team. So we're seeing the 6, we're seeing the sharp money early. Does the general public come in on the weekend and bring her down?
That's exactly where I was going to go. I think that if you like Michigan State, as I do in this game, you wait, because Notre Dame's such a public team. I don't believe the game's going to stay 6. I think it's going back to 5 or 4.5. And if you like Michigan State, wait. If you like Notre Dame, play it now.
Listen, selfishly speaking, I think we're going to give you a lot of great information here. Each and every video we do, all the editorial comment on the Line Makers on sportingnews.com. But Ricky, I think you concur with this. I think it is one of the most, if not the most valuable thing we can do for the viewers, is tell them where we think the money's going to come from, and these are more than educated guesses.
And we're not always going to be right, Brian. No one's right all the time, but more often than not, I think we will. These 2 teams split straight up and against the spread the last 4 years, so expect a tough game. But I just think Michigan State is more physical. They're bigger. They're more physical on both sides of the ball. I don't think Notre Dame has an answer for stopping Le'Veon Bell.
We shall see. It's going to be interesting. It's a long-standing rivalry. Michigan State and Notre Dame at home. Spartans open 4. It's up to 6. The total on the game opening at 43. Gearing up for a big Saturday in college football here on the Line Makers on sportingnews.com.